Hello, hello. Welcome back. So, tonight, as I record this, I was inspired by tidying up the home and realizing that that's kind of a new thing for me. I'm going to be super honest here, I guess, and say that I am a quite cluttered individual. I hate to admit that, but it feels so good, to be honest. Um, And so my fiance's out tonight, and I'm like, wouldn't it be awesome if I cleaned the whole bedroom? And he came home and was like, whoa, it's so clean. How did that happen? And I'd respond and say, I did it. Isn't that awesome? So, anyway, that's my little fantasy for this evening. But I was being really thoughtful as I folded the laundry, reflective on kind of this refresh and stepping back into the podcast space and who I'm talking to. And I'm just so excited to be talking to you. I realize that you are, well, if you're a friend and supporter, I love you very much. And if you're tuning in because you're called to connect or to listen, then I think you are a creative or an entrepreneur who is recognizing some of the deep challenges with the entrepreneurial journey, that there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of tumultuous experiences, and things come out of left field and are wildly unknown. This is what inspired me to become a therapist, was my own and is my own entrepreneurial journey. I see myself as a creative, as someone who is making something and manifesting that and putting it out in the world. And it happens to be that I'm a therapist, that this is the path I took to do that. Um, and that's my skill set. That is what I care to do, the type of work I care to do. And I'm so happy that I've arrived here. I wanted to share my story because I think it does exactly that. It shares how the entrepreneurial journey is such a good fit for therapy with me, and therapy in general. So here's my pitch to my ideal client on doing some therapy work with me. I had a really vague and unclear definition of success growing up. Um, it was all built off of external perspective. And there were some fragments of different people and intersectionality points and environmental, societal perspectives. But for the most part, it was my parents' perspective. And I figured that's cool. They're my parents. I'll do that thing. In this case, it was become an engineer. So I studied that. And by my senior year, the cracks in my foundation started to show that there was something more truthful underneath. And I started to dig my senior year and of college. And I was evolving at such a rapid rate because I was essentially just becoming myself and digging and having so much joy and excitement that the fear was just kind of masked or undealt with, because there was just so much of myself that I was exuding and excited to become. And about a year after that, the world shut down, the world froze, COVID hit, and we were all full of unknown and scary, just scariness. And I only knew that I did not want to be an engineer. I did not really know myself. And I took this wild leap that's full of other events and stories, but I took a leap to find out or discover who I am. Um, I learned that I really loved to run. I love to send voice memos to my friends and check in on how everyone's doing emotionally. Um, I learned to express some of my emotion from singing, through singing. I learned how to connect my voice with people far away and feel like I'm part of community or that I'm contributing and I'm making others feel better. I learned that I love being in the outdoors. I love camping and backpacking and hiking with friends. Didn't go alone, I went with friends. And I learned how to play piano. I learned how to be patient, connect with music theory. Learned how to find that meditative, relaxing. I connected with movement and Pilates a lot more in depth. That was now like 5 years ago. And I think the biggest lesson I learned is I want to create, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I learned that by listening to How I Built This with Guy Raz. That was a really profound podcast. And I think as I speak, I'm seeing for myself how those seeds were all planted back then. I'm just in this fuller embodiment of who I really am. And therefore, I have the podcast. Therefore, I am doing the healing work. I am starting a business. Instead of, I'm so inspired by those people who are so far out of reach. So I have so much more to say on this, on our definitions of success, on how we perceive what others are thinking of us, um, how we can try to create an isolation in order to be perfect, and that actually really, really destroys the creation. That we're meant to lean on each other. We just need to learn how and whom to trust. And trust is a neutral word. I mean, who can help hold the vision with you? Who can see it and who can't? And know who to go to when. That's why, they call early stage companies, it's an incubator or an accelerator. An incubator, I mean, naturally we're thinking like a baby is so new to the world and might have been born early or unprepared, and we need to incubate the baby. We need to give it extra support so that it can have a sustainable life and a high quality life. And not every startup goes through an incubator. And some startups go through accelerators. So let's accelerate. Let's grow at a rate that we're expanding more than our capacity because we're borrowing some of that, some of those resources that we don't have yet. We haven't fully embodied, but we're borrowing. Anyway, when we think of all of these terms for what startups go through, what companies go through, I want us as entrepreneurs to apply it to ourselves, to our journeys, that you can't compare, that the way that Apple became successful is not even the way that Google became successful, and Amazon, and all of these huge names in the field. I mean, quickly, Amazon was just focused on books. Now they are known for being like Amazon Prime, shipping rapidly. And this is not to start a political debate on the ethics of Prime shipping, but merely to show you how much they pivoted. And so, in an entrepreneurial way, how much they came into alignment, pivot to be successful. to change the definition of success. So, this is a sneak peek of some of the work that I offer. And I'm going to weave in the psychedelic work. I think I mentioned some of that in my story. And when I say I think, I know because I said it. But what I wanted to share on that is what I find so incredible about the work of psychedelics, or the catalyst that psychedelics offer us, is helps us get out of our lens, out of our own perspective. And so I think it's extremely impactful in the entrepreneurial field because we often get stuck on what our path is and so committed to a certain perspective that we lose sight of being able to pivot properly or get the right support or know or have clarity. And I think the way psychedelics work is it helps us zoom out for a moment and then come back in and align on the path. And it's that work. I would say a psychedelic experience will give you that lens and the options on the path. And the integration of the psychedelic work is reinforcing, is committing to that path and laying brick by brick your steps. So that's why it pairs extremely well with therapy. And when I say therapy, I mean mentorship, I mean guidance, I mean reinforcement, accountability, someone who sees your vision for yourself and can help you get to that next step. That's the work. That's why I'm really passionate about being able to serve my clients ketamine assisted therapy. If things were legal and all was fine and dandy, I'm really excited about psilocybin and MDMA work in therapy. And I'm really hopeful to work with MDMA in the future in therapy, especially with relationships and couples and groups, business partners. I think group work, like psilocybin, is an incredibly, wow, nonlinear and intense path alone. But in group can be like a tree system. Like we're all individuals, but we feel this connectivity via our roots, via our internal landscape. So please reach out if this work sounds like something you're needing or something you're curious about. My fees for individuals are $175, and for couples, relational work, essentially more than one and under five, it's $295 for a 50-minute session. My info again, mollyrocklin.com, and look forward to hearing from you. Know that the ketamine work right now was just waitlist until I kind of get the foundational backing down, but I'm very much looking forward to serving my community. Really, truly, it's an honor, and I will speak to you soon.